Welcome to the driving range. I am absolutely thrilled to be your coach today for this explainer because, well, we're tackling what is undoubtedly the holy grail of golf, that crisp, pure iron strike. If you're a mid-handicap player grinding away, trying to figure out how the pros consistently make that incredible hissing sound when they strike their irons, you are in exactly the right place. In fact, statistics show that the average mid-handicap golfer loses roughly 4 to 6 strokes every single round purely due to poor iron contact. It's literally the biggest separator between a 15 handicap and a single-digit player. But today, we're going to close that gap. We're going to unlock pure professional-level iron compression. We're going to completely transform how you deliver the club head to the golf ball, and I promise you, the solution is so much simpler and more intuitive than you might think. We're going to break down a profound 1-second lead rest hack that'll change your ball striking forever. Let's get right into it.
Okay, let's get real for a second and diagnose what's probably happening out there on the course. I want you to picture your last round. You step up to a crucial 150-yard approach shot. You've got a 7-iron in your hands. You make what feels like a perfectly aggressive, rhythmic swing, but the moment of contact just feels entirely dead. The ball pops up off the club face, balloons helplessly into the wind, and drops onto the grass a frustrating 20 yards short of the green. Do your iron shots sound weak, fly a little too high, and inevitably fall short? It is an incredibly deflating feeling. You feel the vibration in your hands and just wonder where all that swing energy went. Trust me, you are absolutely not alone in this struggle. It's the most common ailment in amateur golf. Okay, let's dive into this and uncover exactly what's robbing you of your power and precision.
The root cause of this massive power drain is what I like to call the instinct trap. Think about it. When you have a small golf ball sitting directly on the ground, human instinct immediately kicks in and tells your brain that you need to get underneath it to lift it up into the air. It makes logical sense, right? If you want something to go up, you lift it. So amateurs naturally try to literally help the ball up by flicking or scooping their wrists right at the exact moment of impact. But golf is famously a game of opposites. The anti-instinct approach is actually the correct one here. It's very similar to hitting a heavy topspin shot in tennis. You have to drive through and over the ball, not scoop under it. Trying to lift the golf ball is exactly what destroys your power. That scooping motion is the ultimate distance killer. It introduces terrible physics into the swing, and it's the exact reason you end up with those thin, weak ends, let's be honest, somewhat embarrassing iron shots that just don't go anywhere. There is a stark, undeniable contrast between the amateur's impact position and the professional's impact position. On one side of the spectrum, we have the amateur scoop. In this highly compromised position, the lead wrist, which is your left wrist if you're a right-handed golfer, is completely cupped. It's actually bent backward toward the forearm right at the bottom of the swing. When you do that, the heavy club head actively passes your hands before making contact with the ball. This adds a massive, unintended amount of loft to the club and dangerously exposes the sharp leading edge. You're practically turning a perfectly good 7-iron into a weak pitching wedge. Not to mention, it often results in blading the ball and sending a painful, stinging vibration right up your arms. On the other side of the spectrum, we have the pro-compressed position. Here you see clear forward shaft lean. The hands are aggressively leading the way, arriving long before the club head. This single difference completely changes the mechanical dynamics of how the club face interacts with the golf ball, maximizing efficiency and energy transfer. I want you to burn this mantra into your mind. To compress the golf ball, you do not need to swing harder. You need forward shaft lean. We've all seen that guy at the driving range practically grunting with effort, swinging entirely out of his shoes, just trying to muscle the ball for an extra 10 yards, only to pull a muscle and hit it even worse. Look, I am here to motivate you and confidently tell you that explosive distance does not come from sheer physical force. It comes from proper technique. It's entirely about leverage, geometry, and angles, not just how much time you spend hitting the gym. If we can fix your angles at impact, the ball is absolutely going to jump off the club face with what feels like half the physical effort. We're going to let the engineering of the golf club do the heavy lifting for you. The ultimate goal here is forward shaft lean. By definition, this means guaranteeing your hands win the race to the golf ball. Your hands must arrive at the impact zone before the club head does. Think of it as a tactile feeling where your lead forearm and shoulder are actively pulling the grip ahead of the ball. When you do this correctly, you actively de-loft the club and forcefully trap the ball against the firm turf. Getting your hands ahead of the club head isn't just a helpful suggestion. It is the absolute mechanical secret to pure professional-level contact. It is the non-negotiable fundamental of striking an iron properly. Without it, you're entirely relying on timing and luck. And man, that'll never hold up under the pressure of a real round of golf. Now, understanding the physics is great, but we need to translate that into a feeling you can actually repeat. This brings us to a clear, simple progression you can take to the course today. I'm going to put on my coaching hat here and walk you through the 3-step lead wrist hack. This isn't some overly complicated multi-year swing overhaul that requires tearing your game down to the studs. No way. This is a highly actionable 3-step process designed for you to feel and apply immediately, allowing you to start compressing the golf ball like a tour pro the very next time you tee it up. Let's break down these 3 essential steps. Step 1 is all about physical awareness. You absolutely cannot fix a mechanical flaw if your brain doesn't realize you're doing it. We need to identify the cupped impact error. Here's exactly what I want you to do when you get to the driving range. Take a very slow motion practice swing, and I want you to physically stop the club exactly where you would naturally hit the ball. Just freeze right there at impact. Now look down closely at your lead wrist. Is the back of your hand bent backward toward your forearm? Do you see wrinkles forming on the skin on the back of that wrist? If you do, you found the culprit. You're scooping. It is physically impossible to compress a golf ball from that cupped, broken position because all the energy is leaking out. We have to eliminate that angle completely before we do anything else. This brings us to step 2, the actual 1-second adjustment, the knuckles down hack, which is scientifically known in biomechanics as wrist flexion. While you're still frozen in that slow motion practice impact position, I want you to physically push your hands forward completely past where the golf ball would be resting. As you do that, purposely bow your lead wrist so it becomes perfectly flat. A great visceral way to feel this is to imagine pointing your lead knuckles slightly down toward the grass. Or think about the prominent logo on your golf club. Make sure that logo is pointing directly at the target, not flipped up staring at the sky. Now, be prepared. If you've been a chronic scooper for years, this is going to feel incredibly unnatural, almost awkwardly restrictive at first. Trust that weird feeling. That flat, remarkably strong wrist is your new, powerful baseline for impact. Step 3 is where all of this preparation turns into pure magic. Trap and compress. You need to lock that slightly awkward, bowed, flat lead wrist feeling deeply into your muscle memory. Rehearse it over and over without a ball. Then, when you step up to take your real swing, your single overriding goal is to return that flat, bowed wrist right back to the golf ball. Your brain is likely going to scream at you to lift the ball at the very last millisecond out of sheer habit. Ignore it. Fight that urge. When you maintain that bow, nature and physics take their course. Your hands will naturally lead the club head aggressively right through the strike zone. You aren't forcing the hit. You've simply preset the proper body mechanics to make compression happen automatically. So the crucial takeaway here is understanding the explosive, undeniable results of locking in this bowed wrist. When you confidently maintain that forward shaft lean, you are fundamentally changing the DNA of the golf club in your hands. You are drastically de-lofting the club face. You literally turn a weak, high-flying 7-iron into a powerful, piercing, driving 5-iron right at the moment of truth. Because your hands are leading, the descending club face will strike the back of the golf ball first and then forcefully continue traveling forward and downward into the dirt. That right there is what creates that beautiful, crisp hissing sound, instantly followed by a perfect flying dollar bill-sized divot right after the ball. That precise sequence, ball first, then turf, is the true, undeniable secret to pro-level compression. It feels like absolute butter. I really want you to take all of this to heart. Visualize that strong, athletic impact position and commit to the process. Before you head to the course, ask yourself, how much lower could your handicap drop if you never hit a weak, ballooning, frustrating iron shot again? How many more greens in regulation would you hit? The answer is waiting right there in your lead wrist. Give this lead wrist hack a try the next time you hit the range. Leading with your hands is the absolute secret to pure iron compression. Subscribe to our channel for more simple golf tips. For more information, visit our website www.golflocality.com for more golf instruction and swing fixes.